Hi folks, today I wanted to give you a quick lesson in the effective method for using a metronome for the purpose of building speed within your guitar playing, because most people get this wrong and don't really take advantage of what these things can do for us. So first of all, let's say for example we have a target speed of 120 BPM, and you could be doing a legato lick, a pick and lick, it doesn't really matter. Let's say we need to get up to 120 BPM. If we're going to utilise this metronome, the first thing we need to do, which you probably already know, is to do this very slowly, and I would suggest about half pace, so let's say 60 BPM to start with. The purpose of this isn't really to do with speed at this point in time. The purpose of this is to learn the sequence of notes that you need to play so that you don't need to play them with any thought, because a thought process when we're playing at high speed slows us down, causes hesitations, and that leads to problem. So we need to learn it really slow so we get that sequencing absolutely perfect, and equally we need to understand the spacings between each note that we're playing to ensure that we're applying the correct timing framework. So we're going to play it really slow at first to get that under our belt so we really understand the way things are working. Once we've got that under our belts and we know how to think about where our fingers are moving and we've got everything perfectly spaced out, we then need to see a significant increase of tempo within the metronome, not a small incremental approach. So what we need to do is we need to take it up to a tempo where you can comfortably play whatever you've learned with a purpose of momentum, an intent of momentum within the playing. And that's really important. So it could be 90 BPM, for example, out of our 120 BPM example. And the reason it's important is that our technique and the mechanics of techniques, they often change from when we play them at a very slow pace to when we play them at a higher pace. So if we're learning it with momentum, then we'll be exercising the correct techniques required to be able to play this particular lick that you're going to be learning at a much higher speed. So at this point you need to find that sweet spot. I've said 90 BPM, it might be 80 BPM, it might be 95. You need to find that sweet spot depending on what you're playing. But the idea is you play it perfectly at that momentous speed so that you get used to playing it, and again make sure there's no thought processes and that everything sounds nice and clean and perfect at that pace where things are moving with good momentum. I'm going to say momentum lock is really important. Once you've got that absolutely nailed down, and it might be a few days or even a couple of weeks before you get it to that level of perfection of playing this at, for example, 90 BPM, then you can start incrementally increasing things. And the amount you incrementally increase will be down to the individual. You might increment by 10 BPM, it might be 8, it might be 15. But that's when you can start pushing your pace. You can only really start pushing the pace of the tempo when you can play it effectively with momentum very comfortably, and that's when you push your speed. Next time you have a go at a metronome and you're looking to build speed, give that a go. It's the quickest way to build speed using one of these.